Hi there, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, yesterday I talked about how to meditate, but I didn't really go into detail on why to meditate. So, without further ado, today we'll jump right in on why to meditate. So the first point is pretty obvious. It's to give you mental clarity. And what I mean by that is, when you are out in public or you're doing a task that you don't really necessarily want to do, and your mind is just drifting everywhere and you're thinking of other stuff, well, that's called mental blockage. And because of that, it's basically an attention span issue. But because of that, you can't fully focus on the task you need to do at hand. So when you meditate, if you do it consistently over 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, you will start to be able to dive deeper, quote unquote deeper, into the task you're doing at hand. And I remember before I started meditating, there were most days where I just couldn't focus at all. Tasks that seem mundane to the average person, I struggled with a lot, and I'm talking about a lot. I couldn't get my head into the right mind space. I couldn't focus on what I needed to focus on. So to give you an example, people would be talking to me and my mind would just be everywhere at once. I tried to focus on what they're saying, but I just couldn't get into it. And like communication is a two-way street. You need to listen to the other person in order to respond to the questions or to their statements. And you could see where that conversation's going, because I never truly actually listened to them. And maybe to a lot of you guys, it's the same issue. You're struggling to make conversation, or if you can make conversation, you're struggling to keep that conversation going. But basically, if you meditate consistently for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, you will see that mental blockage is just slowly starting to fade away. You will be able to focus on the things you do more effectively, efficiently. And you will be able to focus on the conversations you're having more effectively and efficiently. You will be able to give you full attention to the things you're doing and the things that are important to you, or even the things that aren't so important, or that you would classify as boring. But when you meditate, even the boring tasks begin to be more enjoyable, because after all, you're giving your full attention span to it. Another point I also want to make is you can also use meditation to get yourself into the mood to go sleep tonight. Then you can meditate for 20 or 25 minutes before the time, because at the same time, meditation is a relaxation exercise or activity. So you can use that before you go to sleep. If you're struggling to sleep, or if you woke up in the night, you can use meditation to shut your body down again. Well, it's not exactly your body as it is your mind. So another point to use meditation will also be to before you go to sleep, it can relax you, so it will be easier for you to go to sleep tonight. And also, for me at least, there is one important thing I always struggle with when I'm talking to other people, or when I'm talking to a girl I really like, or if I'm even trying to start a conversation with anyone, and that is eye contact. So I know most of the people watching this is probably going to be in the same boat. We're all struggling with eye contact, especially if you're a guy, you're talking to a woman. If you're maybe a bit younger, then, and she's a really attractive woman, you're going to struggle with eye contact. You're going to struggle with keeping your eyes on hers. And it's understandable because most of the young guys out there, they don't get much experience with that, and they don't even allow themselves to get that experience because they may be scared of how they're going to be judged, or they may be scared of what people are going to think of them. Maybe you're going to be labeled as a creep, or you're going to get labeled as, I don't know, unattractive maybe. But yeah, eye contact is also a very, very, very important part of meditation, should we say. Because when you meditate, and you get into that flow state, you get into that clarity, that clarity of your mind, then you will just naturally begin to be able to hold eye contact with people. And that is due to you being more present in the moment, if that makes sense. So basically, it's if you meditate, you're going to become more present, and if you become more present, you will be able to hold eye contact with people. I remember one time in high school, there was this really attractive girl that I was sitting next to, and I was so down bad that I couldn't even look at her. Just imagine that. I couldn't even look at the person sitting right next to me because I was in my head, I was in my thoughts. It was just going everywhere. I was making up scenarios that didn't exist, wasn't real in the present moment. And that's all because I couldn't focus. I couldn't keep my attention where it was supposed to be. And I know that time I probably wouldn't. I was so young that at that time, if I knew about meditation, I still probably wouldn't have done it. Because like most of the excuses out there, I would have just said it doesn't work for me, as simple as that. But now that I'm older, I know better. But yeah, that's just one of the instances where eye contact would have been very, very helpful, and meditation would have led me to it. Maybe I didn't. Yeah. Let me explain it a little bit better. So, we're in class, right? And it's some special type of class that you were doing some activity that you need your partner to do in order to complete this activity, right? And as I'm looking around, I see everyone is having fun, enjoying themselves, and they're just interacting with each other and with their partner, and they're really enjoying the activity that's going on in front of them. They're doing the stuff that needs to be done. And then there's me, just I couldn't. What needed to be done at the moment was I needed to turn to my partner, and I needed to complete the task that the teacher was handing out to us. And that task, I needed my partner, we needed each other in order to complete it. But I couldn't even turn to her, I couldn't even look at her, I couldn't give my attention to anything besides being in my head and thinking, oh, what is he gonna think of me, and oh, maybe I'm bothering her, and oh, just a lot of negative thoughts. And I know that if I look back at it now, it probably wasn't the case, because I could see that she really wanted to do the task, but it's just me, my negative thoughts, that got into the way of allowing us to do what needed to be done. And yeah, she was like, if I had to scale her from 1 to 10 in physical attractiveness, of course, it would be probably like a 8 or a 9, and that's like that's like grossly underestimating it, and that's how attractive she was. And so, just to give you guys an idea of why it was so difficult for me to turn to her at the time and look at her and talk to her and give my attention to her. But yeah, so that's just one of the negatives that meditation can turn into a positive. If you meditate consistently for a month, 2 months, 3 months, then people will just be people to you, no matter how they look. And if you do come across someone attractive, whether they're male or female, then you'll be just like, it's just another person. So you may be like, so you'll still think they're attractive, but it won't get into your head like it used to get into mine. So I've been meditating for 6 months right now, right? And I'm not gonna lie, it's been on and off most days. Like, I will meditate for maybe 5 days a week, and then I'll skip a day or two, and then I'll meditate for 3 days, skip a day, meditate for 2 days after that, and then skip another day. And I've been doing that for 3-4 months. But for the past 2 months, I've been doing it. I've been trying to do it consistently, day after day after day, even if it's 5 minutes a day, even if it's 10 minutes a day. I always try to do it. And if I have a small break in my schedule, I'll do it again and again and again before I go to sleep. In the morning when I wake up and I have enough time, in the afternoon when I get home, I try to do it as much as possible, because about a month ago I met a girl that gave me a number, right? And back then, if I was still so down bad, I would have that whole interaction would have never happened, basically, because I would just get what I needed to get and then get out as fast as possible without trying to make conversation, without trying to interact, without trying to do anything. Just get in, get done with what I needed to get done with, and get out. But now, due to meditation, and maybe it's not meditation alone, maybe it's my whole entire journey, but meditation was a big part of it. So due to meditation, I actually hung around, I stuck with it. I actually made conversation, I interacted with other people. And because of that, I got the girl's number and we talked for a few so I talked for a few minutes, and then I got my stuff and I left. But then afterwards, it would have been so hard for me to go back, put myself back into that position where I felt like I was being judged. I felt like I was being, like, all the attention was on me, all the judgment was on me, whatever needed to be done, whatever needed to be said, it was all on me. And I needed to make the first move, basically. I needed to lead the conversation and lead the interaction, basically. And if I didn't have meditation, I would have never been able to do that. And it wouldn't have gotten to the point where I actually talked to the girl for a few days, or it was probably like a week, and I never would have interacted with her. I never would have gotten a number. And basically what I'm trying to say is, if I hadn't meditated for such a long period of time, right, 6 months basically, on and off, but I still meditated 6 months, and it drastically changed my outlook on life. So if I hadn't had done that in that time span, then that whole interaction with that girl would have never happened to me. I would have still been that little boy back then that couldn't even look the girl in the eyes, that couldn't even give my full attention in the present moment, and it would have been just it wouldn't have been a good space to be in for me if I hadn't meditated for such a long period of time. And it would have basically been the past repeating itself again. I wouldn't have been able to make eye contact. Now focus in the present moment. No interaction with her, or minimal interaction, since I still needed to interact to get the stuff that I needed and to go. But yeah, that's just my experience that with meditation, and where it has gotten me so far. And maybe your experience will be a bit different, who knows, but I can promise you to stick with it and it'll work wonders for you. So yeah, if you've made it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you. And if you liked the video, if you found it helpful that I shared my experiences with you guys and gave you insight, then please like, subscribe, comment down below your thoughts. And also, one final word of advice that I can give you is, even if you don't feel like it, even if you don't feel like doing it, just meditate, just do it. 5 minutes, doesn't take long. 10 minutes if you are willing to push yourself into it, but just stick to it, just do it. Thank you guys again.